Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another movie review today. Today we're going to be talking about 2004's Alien vs. Predator, or AVP, Alien vs. Predator, as it is known officially. It is directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, written by a bunch of people. I'm not even going to name their names because I don't want to bring any hate to them. I don't want you to dox them or find them on Twitter and tell them what I say. It stars Sana Lathan, Raoul Bova, Lance Henriksen returning, Bishop for the Alien franchise, Ewan Bremner, Colin Salmon, Tony Flanagan, Joseph Rye, and others. The plot synopsis is: during an archaeological expedition on Butovia Island in Antarctica, a team of archaeologists and other scientists find themselves caught up in a battle between the two legends. Soon, the team realizes that only one species can win. So yeah, Alien vs. Predator, AVP. I grew up playing the video games. I grew up watching the movies. I'm a big fan of Predator 1 and 2. I'm a big fan of most of the Alien movies, actually. There's not one that I, despise. Even the newer ones. Or Alien 3. You watch the producer's cut of Alien 3, it's okay. It's an alright movie. I've always kind of had a thing for that series. It's one of my favorites. I watch Alien yearly. At least once a year I watch Alien. Oh my god, actually, after this I might just go pop in that disc. Might just go hit that old recliner and just view my 4K copy of Alien. Very exciting stuff. Anyways, so I checked out Alien vs. Predator. I've seen this before. Back when I was a teenager, I saw it in the movie theater with my friends. Actually, if you've watched Zoobox Goes to the Movies, you know Big Paul. We actually saw this together when we were teenagers. And it's one of the first times I had such a visceral kind of reaction to a movie. I wanted to walk out of the movie. About 45 minutes into the movie, I just wanted to be gone. Something about when you take these kinds of characters or franchises, whatever, you take the Xenomorph, you take the Alien Predator, and then you demystify them and you fucking anchor them down with tons and tons of unnecessary lore. Makes them way less interesting. They're just not interesting at all. And then the fact that you add on Paul W.S. Anderson's direction to it and his kind of hacky bullshit, the fact they made this a PG-13 movie, I couldn't fucking stand it. Like I said, I was a fan of both of the franchises. I played the video games. That this inspired by or based on. And I understand you got to hang your hat on something. But I don't know, for whatever reason, just super visceral hatred of this movie. And I felt that way for a long time. But the weird thing is about AVP, I find myself returning to it every couple years. Even when I was a kid, this is something I've done since I was a teenager. I will watch commentaries for movies I fucking hate. It's I will buy the movie. I'll go to a store, I will purchase the movie if it has an audio commentary. Now, granted, no, I'm not going to go out and spend $20 on it, whatever. But if I find it in a bin for $5 and it has an audio commentary on it, guess who's buying that thing? Sean's buying that movie. I don't know what it is. It's do I want an explanation? Do I want to be you know what I'm saying? I want to hear what they were thinking when they made this movie that I can't stand. And the weird thing about this movie, I would say that now coming back to it much older, it's been a while since I've watched this. Since I bought it. That's right, kids. You heard that right. I bought this movie 3 or 4 years ago. It was in a Walmart, $5 Blu-ray bin. It had AVP and AVP2, or Alien vs. Predator Requiem. So I bought it. And I watched the first one thinking I'm going to watch this and I'm going to watch the second one. I watched the first one, never put in the second one. I was just so turned off by it. It's just so hack bullshit. And it's not even good hack. There's not even good schlock to it. It's just an impotent genre movie. It's just built like a shitty slasher flick. It's just dumb set piece after dumb set piece. It's all just echoes and echoes and and pulling from the franchise, like, oh, look at this imagery. You know what this kind of thing means. And that they allow that to do all the work for it. Like, the script doesn't have to do any work. The visuals, like, the direction doesn't have to do any work. They're just like, you understand what it means when a face hugger comes out of an egg. Spooky stuff. Without any of the craftsmanship there. Paul W.S. Anderson has made, in my opinion, one almost good to great movie. And that's Event Horizon. Event Horizon has an awful third act, but the lead up to it is fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. If that movie had been made by a more competent director but it's still having that same visual acuity, because that movie is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous movie with great use of like miniatures and lighting, and the cinematography is fantastic, and the performances are great. It's it's so close to being like a great movie. He doesn't employ any of that here. It's such a fucking boring experience. It's so plotting. And it's fucking stupid. I cannot stand the concept. I understand, like, makes sense relative to having to include predators versus aliens. They're trying to do something, interesting. And I can't remember. I can't even remember like the context of the video games. And I know there's comic books and stuff, but I was always just like, what if like the predator is just, because they're hunters and they stalk across the universe and they're looking for like, the most dangerous game, whatever you want to call it. What if they just like fucking found this planet that has xenomorphs on it? Like, basically kind of do like aliens. Okay, like there's humans find it, they're going to terraform it, there's a mining colony gets set up, xenomorphs are there. The predators know the xenomorphs are there, they come down, and they all fight it out. I don't know, that would have been way more interesting to me than just like, oh, this ancient stuff that's been going on for thousands of years, and giant fucking pyramids, and this thing shift, and the pyramids shift. It's like a video game. It's like a plot of a video game, like a Resident Evil video game. And I know Paul W.S. Anderson also directed the vast majority, the bulk of the series, dude, of the Resident Evil movies. And those movies aren't good either. I don't give a fuck what you say. There's so many people out there that I have discovered that go hard in the paint, as the kids say, to defend the Resident Evil movies. Fucking blows my mind. They're bland. They're flatly shot. The stories are fucking awful. The characters are non-existent. Nothing there. Like, you go back and watch the original movies. Go back and watch Predator 1 or Alien 2. It has the fundamentals correct. Like, it's got that shit straight. It has good, interesting characters that go through journeys and have development. It has subtext. It has other things going on, these extra layers with kind of, especially in Alien, when you start thinking about Utani, you start thinking about the corporate aspect to it and the weaponization of the aliens, and then you like bring that in with kind of the militarization that's going on and like what that means to the larger universe. Predator, you literally have a ragtag group of fucking like mercenary guys that all have distinct personalities. A lot of that's through casting. Distinct personalities. Now that one's a little bit more two-dimensional, I'll say. Predator is more two-dimensional. But it's a great fucking ride, and you like everybody you're watching, and it's fun and exciting. Well-paced. This is just fucking ugly garbage. And you can tell, like, it just doesn't have, like, a very big budget. I don't think, anyways. I don't know. What the fuck was the budget on this thing? Because it's filmed like a slasher. The budget for this was $60 million. It has like a slasher movie vibe to it, like in a spooky haunted house. Because the locations are so fucking limited. They're so bland. They all look the fucking same. Look at Alien. Look at what Ridley Scott was able to achieve on the Nostradamus. Or the Nostromo. Sorry, the Nostromo. Ooh. I've been drinking. It's late. I've recorded like 5 of these. But anyways, the Nostromo. And how he's able to like make it feel alive. Because it has that sense, right? It's got like the haunted house vibe to it. And there's shadows and there's corridors and creepy sounds, and like that's what it builds, like this great atmosphere, this great tone. You never know where the alien is going to come from. This, none of that. None of that. It is the most fucking lowest common denominator, bare bones, basic bitch presentation of these titans, these sci-fi horror titans. I mean, it just demystifies everything, and also goes in with you totally assuming that you are familiar with these things. Now, granted, that may be a given, right? In a meta sense, is a given. Like, who the fuck goes to see AVP if you don't know what it is? But that's lazy. That's fucking lazy storytelling. In my opinion. I think everything you show on screen, whether it's part of a franchise or not, like, you need to explain it. You need to justify it somehow. You can't just be like, look, face huggers. Look, aren't you supposed to be scared here? Look, they're fucking put up on the wall. Look at that. They're saying kill me, kind of, but we can't because it's PG-13. That's one of the most insidious things about this, in my opinion. Like, Paul W. Sanderson is a corporatist. He's a journeyman. He's a hack journeyman. He's not like somebody like John Borman. John Borman's a journeyman director, right? But he's got such an eclectic field of films that he's made. Point Blank, Hell in the Pacific, Zardoz, Excalibur, etc., etc. This is like Michael Winner. Michael Winner is the director of the Death Wish movies, if you know that. And Michael Winner, he has this weird thing where his movies feel like very flat and kind of bland. Even you go watch Death Wish, it's not the direction that makes those movies interesting. It's not even really the performances. It's like the audaciousness of it, the shocking nature of it. And he's a guy that once he got like a big budget, like he just didn't know what to do with it, and he just shot these flat, awful movies. I watched one of his movies that had O.J. Simpson and James Coburn the other day called Firepower, and it's like a James Bond kind of ripoff type movie, and it's awful, and he shoots it awfully, and he's just an awful director, and that's what Paul W.S. Anderson is to me. He's like that. It's the most cynical approach to making kind of populist, big budget filmmaking, or I guess this is mid budget, but populist, like just cinema. It's just very cynical. It's just very eye roll inducing, groan inducing film. I just can't. It makes me upset. You know, it's funny. The only reason I actually watched it, though, the reason I popped it in was my son, who's like almost 4, he's been really getting into xenomorphs, and he got into xenomorphs by way of toys. We were just like, he had some Christmas money, like a gift card to Walmart, and we're going down the toy aisle, be like, hey, yeah, you can pick out a toy. Treat yourself, motherfucker. And we go down there, and he just immediately gets into there's this giant purple version of the Queen alien from Aliens, and I guess from this as well. It's an AVP as well. And he just got fixated on it. He was super into it, and then he just started talking about it. He started learning all about it. Like, we were watching YouTube videos about toys and also just about xenomorphs, the evolution of xenomorphs. He's like super into these videos, and he could tell you all different kinds of xenomorphs. And so we end up getting into it through that. And we get him another, actually my wife surprised him because he was really good the other day. And surprised him and brought him home another alien, another xenomorph warrior from Aliens. And he's just super into it. He literally does not leave his side. He just carries it around all day. And I was like, well, I don't know, I'm not somebody that really intensely worries about this kind of stuff. And I'm not like a prude when it comes to what I do and do not show my kid. I mean, granted, obviously there's limits, but in terms of like science fiction stuff, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't register me in terms of like, oh, this will damage you forever. Like, I grew up watching these movies. My dad, late at night, some of the fondest memories of my life is being like 4 or 5, 6, 7, watching Terminator 2, watching Alien with my dad late at night. So I was, sympathetic to that. That's kind of just where I come from. And, I asked him if he wanted to watch Alien. And I was just kind of joking around. And he was like, no, that's too scary. That's too scary. I'd be too scared, Dad. So I said, okay. I was like, AVP. I don't like this movie in particular, but it's going to give a 3-4-year-old kid what he wants. There's a lot of Predator. There's a lot of Xenomorph. Artlessly done, but it's there. It's very blunt about it, right? So it's like, oh, cool. I'll just throw this on. It's a PG-13 movie. It's not too gruesome. It's really not scary because it's not well crafted. And we put it on, and he had a fucking blast. He really had a good time watching that movie. He was laughing and covering his eyes and running in circles and talking about xenomorphs and predators, and that actually made me lighten up on the movie a lot. I know I've just thrown like a lot of venom. I'm just kind of out there just spewing shit at this film, but it made me kind of lighten up on it a little bit, because it's like it should be for 10-year-olds. It is PG-13, so, I understand that's probably part of the target audience for the movie. But it's a movie that feels like it is a Saturday morning cartoon. If you remember the 80s and the 90s, they would make, like, Saturday morning cartoons out of, like, rated R franchises. Like, there's a Rambo cartoon, there was a RoboCop cartoon, there was a Conan the Barbarian cartoon. So you'd watch those things late at night with your dad and then go watch the cartoon. And that's kind of what it feels like in a lot of ways, because it's so simplistic and so bare bones and so pedantic that it feels like something like that. Like, I wish it was just a fucking old cartoon show, because it would probably have been better suited to that, to be honest with you. But because that's how he responded to it. He responded to it in that kind of a way. So there you go. But it's not made for that, though. Like, it's made for fucking grown-ass adults. It's made for people that grew up watching them to take their kids to, or for them just to watch themselves. I mean, it's just like the Marvel movies. The Marvel movies are these fucking awful, lowest common denominator, the same fucking story over and over, recycled over and over again, movies with these superheroes. And it's not even made for kids. It's not even like the target audience is like, they pander very hard. So they're trying to be for everybody, but it's not for kids. It's for fucking adults that want to see it and take their kids. So it makes it even worse that, like, there's grown ass men that are just so into these things. And I feel like AVP is kind of has kinship with that concept, that idea. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm just going over the top. I don't know. It's late. It's fucking late. It's late, folks. Yeah, but do the right thing. Don't let your kids watch these movies. Don't let them watch the Marvel movies. If I had to choose, like, what I'd rather have my kid into or watch, I'd rather him watch AVP. 100%. It's fucking dumb. And it's shallow. I mean, it's so ephemeral. Like, I've seen this movie like 10 times. Most recently this afternoon. And I fucking can barely remember most of it. I don't remember any of the characters' names. I don't remember. I'm exaggerating, being hyperbolic, but I just don't remember much of it. It just does not leave any kind of impression. It's so bland. It's so rote. Fucking out of control, man. So I might have to force my kid just to watch the regular Alien movie, just to cleanse his palate. My fault. I introduced him to these movies through this movie. I've done him a great disservice. I'm a bad father. Got to turn in my good dad card because of what I've done this day. Oh my goodness. But anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to know more about Zoobox, there's a bunch of links in the description for Facebook, for Instagram, for my Twitter, for my brother Dan's Twitter. Also, drop a comment if there's something you'd like to see in particular. If you want to hear me talk about something in particular. Also, let me know what you think of AVP. I'm curious to see what people feel about this movie. I don't think I did a great job necessarily of reviewing the movie. I just kind of ranted. Kind of just broadly ranted about AVP and Paul W.S. Anderson, but what do you remember of it? Do you like it? Do you like Paul W.S. Anderson? Are you a fan of, like, the Resident Evil movies? He's like a Michael Bay without any budget, because it's got that same kind of pandery attitude for most of his movies. I don't know. That's just me. All right, everybody. You have the best day ever. Goodbye.